Hey guys, out on another beautiful day, and I'm shooting part 2 of how to lighten up your bike. Just a little disclaimer on this video because apparently people didn't understand the last video. This is not a video on how to exercise or to lose weight or any of that. This is purely on how to lighten up your bike. So this is not a video for dumb people. So please don't leave your comments, well, just, don't eat as much and lose 10 pounds and blah, blah, blah. If you want to find one of those videos, look elsewhere. This is purely on the bike. So, yes. Starting off with the last video, we focused on wheels, tires, and tubes, and those are going to be your biggest weight savings. Well, this video, we're going to focus on the little things. And while they're not going to be as huge weight savings as the previous ones, every little bit helps. Now, I do want you to understand that I also want to focus on form and function as well. So if I find something that's, say, a little bit heavier, but it's going to perform better for me, I'm going to go with that over just the light part. Now, I've got two bikes here. This is the Giant Avail 2 Composite, and then the Felt AR over here. Both are differently light bikes, and I'll kind of talk about both of them. Starting off with, we're going to come over here to the saddle. The saddle is a very personal choice for most people. And I can say one saddle is good for you, while another saddle may be terrible for somebody else. This saddle I got off eBay, and it was a whole 15 bucks. It came from China, and it's actually quite a nice saddle. It's not the lightest thing in the world, but it's a very comfortable saddle. It weighs around 254 grams. The nice thing about it, I'll show you here, it's got a real nice perennial area cut out, so it relieves any pressure down there that you have while you're riding, but also there's a fair amount of flex right in here, so that kind of cushions the ride while you're riding. The brand is something called Lighten, L-I-E-T-U. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But for 15 bucks, you can't go wrong, and most saddles that comes with bikes are going to probably be in the 250 gram range. Now, if you're talking about a cruiser or a road or a mountain bike, they may be a little bit heavier that, so you can save some weight here. Nice little saddle. Jumping over to this bad boy over here. This is the Felt AR bike, and I've got a Bontrager XXL Paradigm saddle. Quite a bit more expensive saddle, so if you're on a budget, this probably wouldn't be the best thing for you. Quite a bit more firm as well. It's about a 150 gram weight saddle, so it's substantially lighter. It's got full carbon rails on it, but the padding's quite minimal, so not the best thing for a really long ride. But what I do is I'll throw one of those memory foam seats on it for, say, I do in a Century, and it does just fine. I don't have any problems with it, but it's more in the $250 range for the saddle. There's another company out there called Dash Cycles, and they make full carbon saddles. Everything on it's carbon, the seat, the rails, everything, and they're really, really light, but they're also very, very stiff. They have some of their seats that are in the 60 and even lighter than that gram range. And like I said before, a saddle's a very individual thing. I tried a couple of their saddles out. They have a trial program where they'll mail you a test saddle to ride out, and if it's something that you like, you send them the test one back, and they send you the brand new one. I tried two of them out, and I just couldn't get the fit and comfort that I was looking for. I may give them a try again later when I just have money to burn, because they're very expensive saddles. I mean, they're in the $500, $600 range. But a couple hundred grams for something that's uncomfortable, to me, I don't find to be worth it. So that's why I chose something with a little bit more padding. and there is the form and function over something that's just for purely light's sake. Next, I'm going to talk about the bottle cages. The two bottle cages I got mounted up to these are Bell plastic bottle cages that I picked up at Academy Sports. They were a whole $5.50, $6, somewhere in that range. They're not super stiff, but for a road bike, I think they work just fine. They're quite light, actually. They're about 33 grams, where this standard aluminum one from Giant is about 47 grams. So, yeah, you're going to be saving a little bit of weight there. These are about $5 a piece, so you can't go wrong with them. Now, for a mountain bike, I think they're a little bit flexy, so you may have a problem with a real heavy bottle popping out. But like I said, on a road bike, I don't think you'll have any problems with them. I haven't had any problem with them so far, and I think they're going to be, work great for you. Jumping over here to the stem. Two things that will actually improve the comfort of your bike. One thing foremost, and that'll be a carbon set of handlebars. A set of carbon bars, while these here are an aluminum bar, carbon bars actually tend to absorb road vibration a lot more, and that's why you see a lot of the pros are riding full carbon bikes. Because carbon, for starters, is going to be a lot lighter, and also carbon has a nice way of absorbing road vibration, so it's not as brutalizing on your body. So if you're having problems with, first off, getting numb hands or some of that tennis elbow, first off, switch it out and try a carbon bar. Get something with a little bit wider area up here to grab onto when you're riding along. You can rest your hands up here and get a break from, say, being up in the hoods. But the carbon will absorb the road vibration. Also, carbon is going to be lighter. Now, the Williams cycling that I mentioned in my previous video, I have a set of wheels on this other bike over here that I'll show you, are great set of wheels, but they also make bars and stems. Their bars are full carbon bars. They also offer aluminum. The carbon version runs $200+ range, which is a really good price for as light as they are and as nice as they are. They do a comparison with some of the other people's, and the other people's are about twice as much as they are, and they're a direct-to-consumer store, so that's how they keep their prices down. But fantastic bars, very stiff, very light. They don't sell a full carbon stem, and the problem with full carbon stems is to make it as light as the aluminum counterparts, they have to build it up. They have to make the carbon quite thick, which would end up making it heavier, and so keeping it light, it ends up being a little bit flexy. And so what they've done is they have an aluminum core with a carbon wrap on the outside to make it look like it matches the rest of your bike. So it makes it very stiff, but also keeps it down and makes it light. They have a stem there. It's about 120 grams. Runs just a hair over $100, where a typical stem weighs about 153 grams, 160 grams, depending on the length. So save 10 or 20 grams there, 20 grams here. Every little bit adds up. So one last thing you can take in consideration when you're building up a bike. Light does not make you necessarily always faster. The two areas that you're going to notice weight savings the most is starting and stopping. The momentum, the amount of effort required to start a heavy bike and to get it going is going to be substantially more than a light bike. Also, the weight when you're going uphill. If I've got a 30-pound bike, 20-pound bike versus a 16-pound bike, I'm going to be hauling a lot less weight up the hill. When you get to the top of a pedal stroke on a hill, an inexperienced rider or not a professional rider, there'll be a little bit of a lag before you pull that foot up and go for your next pedal stroke. So there'll be just a little lull, whatever you want to call it. And at that point, your bike is starting to want to go backwards a hair. So that pedaling motion, every time you get to the top of a stroke, your bike wants to go back just a little bit. So a lighter bike is going to be better because it's less weight to haul up every time you make that full pedal stroke. So if you're doing criteriums, you're doing sprints, a light bike is going to matter because you want a quick start, you want to get up to speed, start fast. If you're running long time trials, you'll notice time trial bikes are quite a bit heavier than their road bike counterparts because they are maintaining constant speeds. Once you maintain a constant speed, get up to speed, weight doesn't become an issue. It's the getting there part that becomes an issue. And so the other factor in helping you maintain speed is aerodynamics. And aerodynamics is always going to win out over weight. I can have a 20-pound bike and a 15-pound bike, and the 20-pound bike that's an aero bike is going to win over the 15-pound aero bike because the aero bike is causing less drag. Drag is the force that's pushing the bike back, also affected by gravity, but if you had a bike with zero drag and you didn't have any gravity pulling you back, you would continue to go without stopping. So the less drag you have, the less resistance that's pushing you back, the easier it is to maintain that speed. And so the aero bike is going to slice through the wind and not pull you back, and so your momentum is going to be able to maintain and be the same. So if you can find parts on your bike that's going to reduce the amount of drag that you have on wind resistance, the faster you can go. So I've mounted the bottle cages on this bike over here on the felt behind my seat to get it out of the wind and reduce my drag. So if you're looking for a way to speed up your bike, form over function and look for the things that's going to reduce drag and make your bike more sleek and aerodynamic. While they may be heavier, it's going to help you cut through the wind and shave those extra few seconds off. One last quick little video. I'm going to turn my gram scale on here. Hope you guys can see it without a glare. I'm going to turn it to the side here. I think that made it worse. There. So, I've got a inexpensive aluminum stem that weighs in at 157 grams. The Williams one weighs 120. Just depending on the length of it as well. And I've got a set of aluminum bars. So your typical bar and stem combination weighs, this one weighs in it 472 grams, so almost a pound, because 540 grams I believe is a pound. So you switch that out for an aluminum stem, or a lighter aluminum stem, and a set of handlebars that, weigh 190 grams. You're going to be saving a lot of weight, close to half a pound. One last little thing is if you got a standard road bike with a round seat tube, swap it out for a carbon one. This will not only improve the comfort of your ride because carbon's absorbing vibration, but also it's going to be a lot lighter. And cut the extra length off if you want to save a few grams that you don't need that's hiding inside the seat tube. This one here weighs 182 grams. This is a fairly short one, but I don't need all the rest that's in there. So if you want and you feel comfortable with it, cut the extra off or take it to a bike store and they can easily cut it off for you. Provided nobody else is going to be riding the bike and you're going to be adjusting the seat. While there's lots of little ways you can save weight on a bike, some might not be for everybody and some might not be affordable. But as a tinkerer, and I kind of like to see what I can push myself and push my bike to do, these are a few tips and tricks to get the weight down of your bike.